Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. With hundreds of thousands of players of all types playing the sport, it's often filled with controversy. These are the most controversial moments in soccer history we could find. Hope you enjoy the video. Number 8. Ronaldo's wink. During England's 2006 quarter-final match against Portugal, Wayne Rooney was sent off for stomping on Ricardo Carvalho. Wayne Rooney got sent off for the second time in as many games. Cristiano Ronaldo of Portugal was a former Manchester United teammate of Wayne Rooney, but it didn't stop him from flashing an imaginary red card in the direction of the referee. After Rooney had exited the field, Ronaldo gave a wink to the Portuguese bench. The Old Trafford icon claims that his humiliation drew him and the Portuguese star closer together as a result of their shared experience, following a series of candid chats in the tunnel after the game. England fans, on the other hand, were incensed by Ronaldo's performance and demonized him for a long time afterward. Number 7. The Battle of Santiago, which took place in 1962. The Battle of Santiago, one of the most contentious matches in the event's history, took place in 1962 in Santiago, Chile, between Chile and Italy. Both sides began a volley of verbal and physical insults on one another following Italian journalists' descriptions of Santiago as a dump. At the time, the city was still recovering from a 9.5 Richter scale earthquake. After 12 seconds, the first foul was committed and the first red card was handed in the 12th minute of play. The police were summoned 3 times during the match, which Chile won 2-0 due to punches, kicks, and multiple scuffles between the players. When highlights from the match were shown on British television a few days later, rather than the same night because film from matches had to be flown back to the UK, BBC sports commentator David Coleman described it as the most stupid, appalling, disgusting, and disgraceful exhibition of football possibly in the history of the game. During their training camp, stones were thrown at some of the Italian players. Coleman remarked that this was the first meeting between the two teams and that it would be, hopefully, the last. In 1966, however, the teams were drawn together for the World Cup and faced off in Sunderland's Roker Park Stadium, with Italy winning 2-0 and no violent incidents occurring. Number 6. During a match, Eric Cantona kung fu kicked a supporter. Even by the standards of football melodramas, former Manchester United striker Eric Cantona's kung fu kick at Crystal Palace supporter Matthew Simmons minutes after being sent off at Selhurst Park remains one of the most astonishing scenes in sports history, almost 2 decades later. "I admit, I have one regret. It was my ambition to kick him even harder," says Cantona, who hails Sir Alex Ferguson for standing behind him like a father after a kung fu punch to the skull of a Crystal Palace supporter in 1995. Cantona was enraged by the hostility aimed at him, and it was later revealed that Simmons had gone down 11 rows of the stadium with the specific goal of bidding farewell to the Manchester United legend. "Off you go, Cantona. It's an early bath for you," he said in an interview with The Sun. According to reports, he said the words were something along the lines of "Fuck off, you motherfucking French bastard." He probably deserved to be kicked in the head. Number 5. The 1966 World Cup final between England and West Germany. Another significant episode in World Cup history occurred during the 1966 World Cup final between England and West Germany. The ball bounced downwards and out of the goal as England striker Geoff Hurst twisted and hit a shot into the crossbar. The ball had crossed the line, but the Swiss referee Gottfried Diest was unsure. But Soviet linesman Tofrik Bakramov declared it had, giving England a 3-2 lead against Switzerland. People have been divided on this issue for years. Was it an aim, or did it not exist at all? The West Germans chose to send their defenders forward with 1 minute left on the clock in an effort to score a last-minute equalizer. Bobby Moore won the ball and sent a long pass to an open Geoff Hurst, who moved the ball forward as supporters began to arrive, and Hurst scored moments later. Hurst later admitted that his blistering shot was intended to blast the ball as far as possible into the Wembley bleachers in the event that it missed, allowing the remaining players on the field to gain time. Following the last goal, one of the most well-known calls in English football history was made, as stated by BBC commentator Kenneth Wolstenholme. "Hurst has arrived at the site. There are a few folks on the field who believe the game is finished for them. It's taking place right now. It's now 4 o'clock. Number 4. You've arrived in hell. Manchester United was drawn against FC Galatasaray of Turkey in the UEFA Champions League in November 1993. The game was held in Istanbul. Manchester United had already beaten Honved, and a win over Galatasaray would send them in the quarterfinals. Their failure at Old Trafford, on the other hand, had forced them to travel to Istanbul, where they had to win. Manchester United were met with terrifying banners expressing strange messages when they arrived at Old Trafford. The banner that read "Welcome to Hell" was the most notable of these. Their presence was felt throughout the game, and things unavoidably became frantic after the final whistle. Even worse, a number of Manchester United fans were assaulted and imprisoned. Number 3. Zinedine Zidane's headbutt from 2002. Zinedine Zidane was a former professional football player and former captain of the French national soccer team. He was the sole person responsible for France's win in the World Cup in Brazil. Zinedine Zidane was largely recognized as one of the finest players in the history of the game in the early part of the last decade. It was the 2002 World Cup final, and France was up against Italy. The score was 1-1 after 90 minutes of play, therefore the game game was prolonged into extra time. During this point, Materazzi, an Italian player, hurled some derogatory remarks towards Zidane, forcing him to retaliate with a headbutt to the center of his torso. The referee then showed him the red card, effectively ending his career in the most humiliating way possible. The game was decided by a penalty shootout after neither team was able to score in extra time. In the end, France would lose the match. Long after the Italian defender had crumpled in a heap, the French captain had been ejected, and the Azzurri had cruised to a 3-0 victory. This was the question on soccer fans' minds. It was only 3 months later that Materazzi finally confessed that he had upset Zidane by insulting Zidane's sister. Number 2. The sultry onlooker who can kick a football. Streakers come in a wide range of shapes and sizes. Some of them are downright beautiful, and this is one of the most beautiful we've seen so far in our inquiry. This stunningly beautiful woman is also an incredible athlete who can really kick the soccer ball. She scores a rocket goal past a diving goalie who apparently was unaware that she was not a member of any team at the time. Of course, the goalie may have recognized that she wasn't a real player, but didn't want to take the chance. Extra points are given to goalkeepers who maintain a professional manner and do not take scoring chances for granted. Although we are unable to embed this video on our page due to its sensitivity, you should be able to find it using a simple YouTube search. Number 1. Maradona's Hand of God in 1986. Argentina meets England in a 1986 World Cup quarterfinal match. The game had not been played in 4 years due to the Falkland War between Argentina and the United Kingdom. For the same reason, there was a lot of animosity between the two countries. Maradona was one of the most well-known players in history, and his arrogant personality was well known. He scored 2 of the most iconic goals in football history in this match. He scored his first goal in the 51st minute of the game. The ball was in the air and the English goalkeeper sprinted out of his goal to deflect it away from the goal mouth. In contrast, Maradona was the first to reach it and strike the ball with his left fist. The Tunisian referee allowed the goal because he did not detect the infringement. Later, it was repeatedly proved on television and in newspapers that the incident was clearly a handball, and that Maradona should have been penalized as a result. However, when Maradona later revealed to reporters that the hand of God had aided him, the game went from being ruthless to legendary. Well, that's it for our video today. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch, and be sure to like and subscribe and come back soon for another video right here on this channel.